Hello, good day. I'm here today at my desk instead of being out in the field where I should be. But I wanted to do a quick lens review on the Sigma 100 to 400 millimeter contemporary zoom lens. So I've been looking for this focal length range in the Nikon system for years. Nikon does not have a lens that is acceptable to me. I've tried them all. I tried multiple copies and I tried sending them in to Nikon to verify they're operating properly. And I just had a lot of problems with the latest version, 80 to 400 AFS VR lens. I could not get the autofocus to work consistently for me. The autofocus chattered and gave me really inconsistent autofocus. So I got rid of it, and I mostly shot with my Fuji X-T2, and Fuji has a really nice 100 to 400 millimeter lens, and that's what I've been using for that focal length range, and it's been great. Honestly, I like this better, though. I think this is a little bit sharper and works better, and there are times when I like the Nikon system for different things over the Fuji system too. But so I'm really happy to have found this lens, and I had really low expectations for it, to be honest, because it's a $750 lens, and that's like a third of the price of Nikon's version. So I kind of wasn't expecting it to be very good, but I figured it was worth a try, right? And sometimes when you try things, they pay off, and this one definitely did. So bottom line is the lens is working out great for me, and if you're looking for that in a Nikon system, buy it. It's great. I have not used the Canon version of their 100 to 400, so I can't really comment on that one. So anyway, the first thing, I guess, to talk about is what I like about it. It's small, and it's light, and it has great image quality and great image stabilization. How's that? That's good enough, right? Big thing for me, hiking a lot, going out in the woods, looking for wildlife and landscapes and things like that. To have something super versatile, a zoom, and something that's light. So I want to be able to travel through the woods fast usually and cover a lot of ground and not get bogged down with big heavy lenses very often. I've got heavy lenses, and so I've got that covered. When I want to carry a heavy lens, I have a few of those to choose from, but this is my light one. So I like this for running around in the woods, and it works great. It's sharp, wide open. That's one thing that the Nikon wasn't at the long end for me. The two versions I had, they were both, in order to get this good of image quality out of it, I had to stop it down to f8. So I like that a lot too. Fuji is kind of similar. I'd say it's acceptable to me, wide open at f5.6. But again, if I go to f8, it's noticeably better. And I think this is as sharp, wide open at 6.3 as the Fuji is at f8. And that's my experience in the lens that I own. So I love that about it. I do like this feature. There's some custom modes that I can program in the lens and switch back and forth, which is kind of a cool thing that neither the Nikon nor the Fuji has. And those let me program in two modes. So I've programmed one for action shooting, which prioritizes autofocus speed and image stabilization not in the viewfinder. The other one is for slower static subjects, where it prioritizes autofocus accuracy, so it slows down the autofocus, and it's going to prioritize stabilizing the viewfinder image so I can frame a little more accurately, a little more precisely. So those were great. I can switch back and forth depending on what I'm shooting, and it really does work. It's not just a gimmick. It seems to actually make a difference, which is cool. There are a couple of things I don't like about this lens. They're obviously not deal breakers. I wouldn't say buy it, and I wouldn't keep it. So the first one is there's no tripod collar. So the lens is intended to be handheld. They made that clear, and One, by making it light and small, and two, by not including a tripod collar. I would generally shoot this thing handheld anyways, because that's my intended use is to be kind of run and gun, this, over a shoulder strap, running around shooting. It would be nice to have a tripod collar. I like to carry it. I like to hang it off of my strap on a tripod collar, so it carries it, kind of the weight's here. This way, my strap is holding it here, so it's kind of dangling. The lens it's not that heavy, but it's heavy enough that I don't feel great about it dangling off the camera all the time. Shouldn't be a problem, but I wish it had a tripod collar for that reason, and also so I can occasionally slap it on a tripod and shoot some video with it. A lot of people don't care about that. It's secondary for me. I would shoot some video with it, and I will handheld, which isn't ideal, but it'd be nice to have that option. But sometimes you got to trade off weight and cost, and that's one of the trade-offs. So not a big deal, but worth mentioning. The single biggest thing I don't like about this lens, I don't know why I saved it till last, because it's the biggest thing, is the zoom ring. It goes the wrong way, at least for a Nikon shooter. So as a Nikon shooter, I'm used to zooming this way, clockwise, as I look at it, to zoom in on something. On the Sigma, I have to zoom counterclockwise, so it's backwards for me. That takes some getting used to. My muscle memory is for Nikon, so if I'm going to zoom in on something, boom, I go that way. If I'm zooming out on something, boom, I go that way. And I know that, and that's ingrained. My Fuji's the same way. That's what I'm used to doing, and muscle memory is a hard thing to override. But when I'm shooting with this lens, and I also have another Sigma zoom, the 120-300 2.8 Sport, I love that one as well. Another thumbs up for that lens. But if I'm using either of those lenses, I have to be actually thinking about that instead of thinking about making the photograph. I have to be thinking about, oh, I'm using the Sigma, I got to zoom backwards. And I've missed shots because of that. It's a trade-off, again, I'm willing to make, because I get more shots than I miss when I'm able to go cruise around out in the woods, travel light, and have a nice, sharp, good image quality solution right there. So it's a trade I'm willing to make, but that's the biggest thing for a Nikon shooter that my problem is with the lens. Muscle memory, and that's in my head, I get it. But it would be nice if it worked the same as Nikon. So I think that's it. Let me know if you get anything valuable out of hearing about this. I don't know. There seem to be a lot of gear reviews online, so I'll throw my opinion out there as well. I do spend a lot of time making sure that the gear I'm using works for me and my style of shooting. I think about it a lot, what I'm using and why. I'm certainly willing to share my opinion if anybody thinks it's valuable. So let me know if you have any other thoughts on gear you've seen me using in my videos, if you want to know more about that stuff, and I can try and make a video about it someday. So I appreciate you watching this Sigma 100 to 400 millimeter f5 to f6.3 DG-OS camera lens review. And it's great. Get one if you need it. Don't if you don't. Have a great day. See ya.